Hi everyone, welcome back. In this episode, we'll fix some bridges, deliver some cargo, and if you stick around till the end, see a flying 47X. At the end of the last episode, I spilled a load of trucks on my way to Island Lake. Now that everything is loaded and hooked back up, it's time to finish that journey. Again, I'm taking the swampy road at the south end of Smithville Dam. All three of these 57X trucks have off-road tires, though none have all-wheel drive. Red and yellow each have a low saddle, while green has the high saddle I'll need later on Drummond Island. Having both trucks pulling makes for slow and steady progress towards the exit zone. I always like changing maps with multiple trucks in tow. It makes for weird ghost effects like this. My driver is just like Wonder Woman in her invisible jet. Okay, there are lots of things to do in Island Lake, starting with fixing 3 power poles marked by stars on this map. The yellow arrow points to a bridge that we'll need to fix with wooden planks to access drilling equipment. The circled area has the planks we'll need for the bridge repair and the metal beams we'll need for the power poles. We can get fuel from a trailer near that bridge, or from the large fuel trailer at my home base. I've chosen this route, which will make good use of a 5-slot trailer. I'll be able to fix 2 poles and half the bridge with the first load. In a previous episode, I left a trailer with 1 pallet of wood planks on it, hoping that I'd be able to use it later. Today is that day. I hook up the trailer and head north, delivering the first of 2 loads of planks. Then it's off to pick up metal beams and more wood. I'm liking the look of the red 57X with the cab side extenders removed. My last trip through here was on all-terrain tires. I'm liking the way the off-road tires work. I load the wooden planks first. They'll be the last thing I unload on this trip, and I'd like to keep that weight on the drive wheels as long as possible. Not far to the south is the first power pole that needs to be repaired. Easy peasy. On the way to the next power pole, I encounter another mission. I accept every one of these that I come across, just so it will be on the list of things to do for later. Even with the non-stock front bumper, I do still run into plenty of things with the 57X. Okay, power pole number 2 delivered. From here, I'll head north to finish repairing that bridge, then pick up a new load of metal beams, a quick out and back to pick up a stranded vehicle, which I'll drop off on the way to fixing the last power pole. The bridge is now fixed, giving me access to the drilling supplies at the site. Just a little ways to the west is a fuel trailer. I'm not quite to half a tank yet, but I like to top off before I get that low. At the log station, again I load up with planks first, so I'll have weight over the drive axles after I fix that final power pole. At the first crossroads south of the log station, I drop the trailer before I continue on to pick up the scout vehicle. No sense dragging along, and more importantly, turning around a 5-slot trailer. I don't have all-wheel drive or diff lock, so I don't want to go too far into the weeds while pulling this truck out. That's just close enough to hook onto it with a winch line, and my tires are still on firmish ground. No problem towing this little truck. I can barely tell it's back there. Back at the crossroads, I temporarily drop the winch line while I reconnect the truck and trailer. Okay, now we're moving. It's gonna miss the tree, right? This should kick the front end of the Scout around and dislodge it from that tree. Perfect. In this scene, I mow down a perfectly harmless tree because I'm not looking where I'm going. But that doesn't stop me from successfully delivering the Huntsman's International Scout to his parking area. A quick shot of me showing off my trailer backing skills, and we're back at it. Headed west just a short distance down the road to deliver the final load of metal poles. And a promotion to boot. How about that? Rank 10. The next Island Lake task is to deliver 3 loads of drilling equipment from one of the 3 abandoned drilling sites to a cargo zone in the southeast corner of the map. I'll be sticking to the closest drilling site. I brought the trailer I'd use for opening up the lumber mill to my home base so it can be used for this mission. I'm not going to use this 57X though, because it's still using all-terrain tires. I worked hard getting the off-road tire 57X trucks here, so I'm going to use them. Step 1 is to ditch this lowboy trailer. but I'll make sure to lower the ramps and unpack the truck first. Okay, trailer attached. Heading out for the first of 3 loads of drilling equipment. A couple of years ago, when I first did this mission, I thought I needed to collect 1 load of drilling equipment from each of the abandoned drilling sites, which, in addition to being a lot more driving, meant 2 more bridge repair contracts. I'm not really sure why I went for the big loop here. It's really muddy on the north side of this loading zone. Eventually I freed myself and loaded up the truck with a drilling equipment container. It was at this point I realized just how little fuel I had left. I had less than 50 liters when I started this run, and now I was at half that and dropping rapidly. There was no way I was going to make it all the way back. Eventually, I ground to a halt. Luckily for me, I had the maintenance frame 47X waiting relatively nearby. A short drive later, and I was filling up the tanks of the 57X. Tanks topped off, I jumped back in the 57X, fired it up, and got back to delivering cargo. 1 down, 2 to go. Oh man, I could have used that loaded trailer to open the lumber mill instead of hauling those supplies from Smithville Dam. On the way back to the drilling site, I stopped briefly in my base area to pick up another truck. Twin steer, your time has come. Don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree. Nice. Okay, I learned my lesson last time. No pulling all the way in. I'll just make this quick U-turn. Nothing could go wrong. Okay, we'll pretend that went better than it did. Now it's the 6900's turn. Can it make this task look easy? I've decided that I'd like to get turned around before I load the cargo on board. Which is easier said than done. This thing has the turning circle of a battleship. Seriously, I think I'm on 0.6 of this turn. But eventually I get it backed in and the cargo loaded on board. Time to bring both containers to the unload area. Passing the 57X, I decide it's road train time. We're making a pretty good pace here, and soon we're passing the 47X maintenance truck. I decide to drive the truck separately, and in less than 200 meters, I managed to almost lose my cargo. Luckily, the SnowRunner gods are smiling on me, and the drilling equipment stays strapped down. I leave the 6900 parked while I bring the 57X around, passing the big twin steer truck and taking it in tow. Its massive turning circle proves too much for the first turn I need to make, so I leave it jammed up against a pole as I drive the 57X to make delivery number 2. 2 down, 1 to go. Extricating myself from the power pole, I cut this corner and head for the cargo zone. 3 of 3 containers of drilling equipment delivered. The Instruments of Development contract is done and dusted. On the next episode, I finally unlock a new transmission. I can't keep the rubber side down. And I test the flight properties of the 47X. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, a comment, or consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.